That's the crying child's name? Is it? That's huge. Generic intro into that goes. We're back with another Game Theory FNAF video. Today we're doing Did Reddit Just Solve FNAF? And judging by the amount of videos we have left to cover, I'm gonna say no, because FNAF is an ever-growing world of lore, and every time a new game or book comes out, answers get revealed and theories get put to rest, and it's always super, super exciting. You can check my reaction to last week's video, which was the fanverse, the fan-made FNAF games. You can check my reaction to that. I'll leave it right up there. Also, link down below in the description. Also, gonna place my channel with all the other Game Theory FNAF videos going in chronological order of when I started them. I've only ever played the first game. I've only ever seen gameplay of the first game, and I think it was 4 as well. I think I saw a little bit of gameplay, but I was literally too scared to watch the YouTube video. I think of Captain Sparkle's even playing it, but I have no idea what's gonna happen in this one. Also, we live stream today at 5 p.m. Might be starting my Pokemon Emerald randomizer Nuzlocke. First time ever doing an Emerald Nuzlocke, let alone a randomizer of any Pokemon game. It's gonna be really exciting. It's gonna be the very first stream, so if you want to have a chance to name some of my Pokemon, definitely stop by the stream. I read every single comment, so leave them down below. Shout out to the patrons. Could not do this if it was not for them. Also going to be starting Portal 2 on Saturday at 5 p.m. over on Twitch. Definitely stop by for that. I loved Portal 1. Oh my god, it was so much fun. But did Reddit just solve FNAF? I have no idea. Also, we were talking about the fanverse stuff in last week's video, and y'all were talking about why Scott retired from game making, but he still has a hand at play in the games and stuff like that. So I have no idea. I know that there's going to be a Game Theory video talking about when Scott leaves. I don't know when that's going to be, but I look forward to hearing more details about that. But you all are super helpful in the comments, by the way, so leave all some comments down below. But let's go ahead and jump into this video. Also, shout out to patrons if I forgot to do that.
What did you
They're
do
the best.
today, Jake?
I could not do this if it wasn't for them.
We watched
Went to
a
the movies.
scary one. It was so scary that
You
I
lost me
jumped
there.
out of my seat and spilled my popcorn everywhere. Did you
Dude.
do that, Jake? Were you there? Jake. Then I
State
went
Farm?
to the arcade. I ate a bunch of
Dude,
pizza
I was at a
there.
music
I got
festival
red
yesterday.
tomato
Popcorn was
sauce
$10.
all over my mouth and more red on my clothes. There were so many other kids there, and then there weren't. I love you, Jake. You know that, right? I love you.
It really shows that he actually has acting,
Come over
he took
here.
acting
Open
lessons.
The cabinet, Jake. Open it. Open it. Open it. Open the cabinet, Jake.
That is when you're getting about 20 of these through the cabinet. If the cabinet
Hello,
starts
Internet.
talking to me and
Welcome to
bleeding,
Game Theory,
5, 7 by
where
28.
Today, the theory is coming from you. That's right. Just because we're all still waiting for Security Breach to release doesn't mean that
Yeah.
FNAF theorists out there have been twiddling their thumbs. In fact, the lack of a new game has prompted the community to go back and comb over all the pieces that were in
You
place
gave
for us
them too
before.
much free
Pieces
time,
that
Scott.
we might have overlooked or missed the first time out. And it was this thorough re-review of the clues that prompted what may be the biggest fan theory to blow up in over a year. And that's saying a lot
Reddit,
since 2020
which I'm on Reddit all the
full
time.
of
There's
us
even a Duck
connecting
Goes Move
massive
subreddit
pieces of this franchise's
where
lore. I mean,
it's
with
a
the
lot
help
of
of Fazbear's
just
Frights
the
throughout last year's
worst
videos, we managed to pinpoint
Photoshops
the year
ever.
of the missing children's incident as 1985. We solidly connected Foxy Bro to Michael Afton. We even
Yeah.
concluded the high likelihood that two
React to all
spirits are
those
trapped
videos.
inside Golden Freddy, not
Fighting
just
for
one.
control.
Our vengeful spirit Cassidy, as well as our Bite of 83 victim, the Crying Child. But have you ever noticed that that kid doesn't have a name? I mean, it's been 6 years since he was introduced into the franchise in FNAF 4, and we still don't have any hints as to what Crying Child's
imagine only
name
being
might
known for
actually
crying.
be when he's,
Michael Jordan.
experiencing literally any other emotion.
Yeah.
Wait, is that Crying Child? But no,
Paparazzi.
that's Happy Child. And that's
Oh.
Angry Child, and that's Confused Child. That's Apathetic Child. That is Passionate Child.
Very.
Nope, not that one. Ooh, is that Emotionally Repressed Child?
thought it could be a
Hashtag
child
relatable
much
there.
longer.
But really, take a moment to think about that. We know the puppet's name,
Get out of
Charlie,
here.
and her father, Henry. We know that baby was originally Elizabeth Afton. Purple
Yeah.
Guy / Springtrap is William Afton. Other Purple Guy is Michael Afton. There's the missing children's incident victims, Jeremy, Fritz, Susie, Gabriel, and Cassidy, the vengeful spirit, who is at least one of the things trapped inside Golden Freddy. I mean, there is a name for pretty much every
Except
single
the Crying
character
Child.
in this franchise.
Why?
Except for this one kid. The one kid who, wouldn't you know, was also important enough to have the first on-screen death of the series. Feels like we should probably be able to solve this one by now, right? Like, we should probably
Nope.
have gotten a name for
What's
it
in the box?
somewhere along the line, or at the very least, the means by which to solve.
And
for
speak
his
of the box
name.
right there.
The pieces have got to be in place for us, right? Well, today might just be the day where we solve
Wow.
exactly
Remember those
that.
kind of light bulbs?
One Reddit user named Wolfie1740 Kingdom thinks that they've cracked the code to finally solve the final name of the FNAF mystery, to finally give the crying child, the Bite of 83 victim,
A name.
proper
What would that
identity.
name
So
be?
break out
Let's
your
say 45
tamarines,
pounds.
theorists, 'cause it's Morty time. It's a theory review.
Leave your theories in the comments
What in the world?
below. I'll pick my favorites
I-
in the next
I-
episode of Morty.
Now, today's theory
No idea
starts
what Morty
where
is.
all the best theories begin, dabbing Chica.
God,
That's right,
the
folks,
book.
we're back to the most important lore item in the whole franchise.
The book.
Not any of the novels. Certainly not the games. Those are just afterthoughts
The
at this
survival
point.
guidebook.
Nope, it's back to the children's activity book, FNAF Survival Logbook. In a past FNAF theory, we had a huge
know, taking a
revelation
piss
about
with
how
that
this
one.
thing works. Basically, there are 3 people present within this book. There's Mike, who's alive and always writes everything in
Certain
red
death.
pen. There's Cassidy, who haunts the book and speaks in ghostly faded text, but there's a
Or those
second
just
spirit here,
erased.
the crying child, who's forced to communicate by actually altering the words that are found in the book. The example that proves it is
Huh?
right here. Cassidy says, "The party was for you," and the crying child responds on page 89 by altering the text of
was
the book
for
to
me.
read, "It was
Oh.
for me." We know FNAF 4's party wasn't for Mike, and we know Cassidy wouldn't be saying this to themselves. As
True.
such, it must be crying child acknowledging what Cassidy has said. Same thing here on page 59 with Cassidy asking, "What do you see?" and crying
Maybe-
child answering
Oh,
on
yeah.
page 109, "I can't see."
But they're
Again,
communicating- they're
altering
both
the
in Golden
actual
Freddy.
print of the logbook. So that alone was pretty huge, and it went a long way to supporting the theory that both Cassidy and crying child
Are in
possess
Golden Freddy.
And that
That's how they
alone
communicate,
would be
though?
pretty awesome. But it
Wasn't the
still
books-
leaves a
couldn't they, like,
major
actually
part of this
communicate
book
inside the
unsolved.
body that
You
they
see,
were
on
possessing?
page 95, there's a loose thread that's never been tied up. One that has personally driven me crazy for years. It's a
You've
grid
already
where you're
gone
told
crazy.
to draw an 8-bit Foxy. Just another random activity in this children's workbook, right? Wrong. The grid is numbered, and you can see in faint print that you're supposed to put letters into the squares, with the first few already being put in. So in our quest to solve Golden Freddy's name years ago, we collected the page numbers where the phrase "my name" appeared, we
True.
added them together per the instructions
This
hidden in
is
the book,
just
and
crazy.
then we plugged those coordinates into the Foxy alphabet grid to get the name Cassidy. Good game, everyone. Let's
Yeah,
all treat
the
ourselves
fact
to some
that
orange
that
slices
happened.
and give ourselves a pat on
I've
the back
never
for
had an
solving
orange in my
another
life.
piece of the lore. Except
Never
that's
once.
not how it worked. You can imagine my surprise
Never.
and confusion when the numbers
my
got
entire
plugged
life.
into not
Tangerine,
the alphabet
orange,
grid that was
cutie, any
clearly
of that.
being telegraphed
Grapefruit,
to us,
no.
but rather the word search. And apparently we were right to do that, since Scott Cawthon himself confirmed in his FNAF movie announcement the critical role that a child
Which,
named
the
Cassidy
movie's coming out
plays
October.
within the lore. But all of this still means one
I
thing.
bet
The
Matt is gonna
alphabet
be, like,
grid
invited to the
is
reveal. I hope he
awkwardly left
is.
completely unused, despite it obviously needing
I wonder
to
if it's
be
gonna be
used
a big
to solve
deal.
one of the mysteries within
I know
this
it's, like,
book. And
done by,
that's
like,
where
a-
Wolfie
what,
1740
Blumhouse?
stepped in. In the book, there's one Cassidy question that's left hanging. On page 31, Cassidy asks, "Do you remember your name?" Of course he does. He's the crying child, duh. Crying child Afton. His
The name's
friends call him
Child.
Bite Victim
Crying
for short. Just
Child.
rolls off the tongue. But seeing that the logbook had helped to solve for Cassidy's name, Wolfie suspected that it might also be helpful in solving this other name, using,
And
you
how would
guessed
you
it,
do that?
the Foxy alphabet grid. What Wolfie noticed was that the crying child specifically uses the night's 4 and 5 shift rating questionnaires to speak with Cassidy. For the first 3 nights, the section reads as follows: overall, fulfillment, health, stress, purpose, hope, and existential dread. But on nights
Okay.
4 and 5, you have other things mixed in here, like I'm scared, and it was for me. So Wolfie reverse engineered things, taking Bite Victim's answers and matching them to the page numbers where Cassidy
Are we looking
asks
a
the
little
question.
too far
To
into
quote
this?
from Wolfie's own
Or is
post,
Scott that
the
big
first one
brain?
is I can hear sounds. The page it's responding to is 75, which says, "Does he still talk to you?" And one trend to notice is that all 4 pages have a piece of blood on it. Next is "It was for me," which is responding to page 103's question of "The party was for you." Third is "I can't see," responding to page
Oh, and
59,
look at the
"What do you
numbers.
see?" And last is "I'm scared," which stumped me, so I went off of what I already had. End quote. He then fully filled out the Foxy chart with the alphabet, and going in the order that Bite Victim's answers appear, he followed the grid code to find the following 4
Dude.
letters: E-V-A-N.
Evan? Is it actually?
After 6 years, could it
That's the
possibly
crying
be that
child's
Evan
name?
Is the name of the
Is
crying
it?
child?
That's
honestly, I'm not
huge.
sure. Or at least I'm not convinced off of this alone. Don't get me wrong.
Is there
I
any
don't
other
think that
evidence?
This is a bad theory at all. Quite the contrary, in fact. Anything that tries
That's
to figure
some
out the
crazy
true purpose
digging.
of that stupid Foxy grid is gonna get credit in my book. The problem here is the methodology. Throughout the book, Cassidy asks a lot of questions, but only 4 of them actually matter. Wolfie also points out the bloodstains, but there are bloodstains on a lot of the pages throughout this
True.
book, not just those 4. And even then, an answer like, I can hear sounds, to the question of, does he still talk to you, it feels just a bit off. It's not very precise. You know, it feels random, arbitrarily trying to fit pieces together in a book that has been crafted to be anything but arbitrary. I mean, the Cassidy code alone required you to find 6 numbers, find a page that points to another page on what to do with
and
those
then
6 numbers, and then
put that
translate
into a
all
word
6 of them
search.
into the word search.
Yeah.
Multi-step puzzles like this have to be precise in order to work. And while the puzzle pieces in Wolfie's
It's almost
theory
like
certainly fit, they fit a bit loosely.
you
know,
can-
I mean, even
you
Wolfie
can,
admits that finding
like,
the last end
theorize
was a bit of a
anything.
stretch,
Like,
and
you
it
can
forced
find-
him to break his own methodology. In fact,
If you
another
look at
Reddit user,
anything close enough, you'll find what you wanna see.
3105 tried to correct for that to find the N in a different way. One of the other lingering threads of the book is a series of tally marks written by Mike that never quite add up to anything. They're never used, or at least their true
Red
use
herrings,
has
maybe?
never been discovered. But again, similar to the Foxy grid,
Cake. The
they
cake was
must
a lie.
mean something, right? To quote from
just a
Godzilla's
waste of
post, I
time.
realize that there's a magazine Foxy is holding on the first page of Night 1 that has 5-3 on it. When you
Oh.
add 5 and 3, you get 8. Then I took every single tally mark set in the book and added them together. I got this
Okay.
from the idea of how the whole quiz thing at the end of the shift says tally up your score. Putting all of these together gets you 47. 4-7 on the Foxy grid gives you the letter N. End quote. Again,
I don't
sounds
think
good
it
on
would
paper,
really get
and I love
broken
the
up
attempt
like
to make
that.
sense of it all, but the why of it just doesn't line up for me. Why add tally marks to this number on Foxy's magazine?
yeah.
How are those elements related?
They're
And why would they
not.
be connected to a completely different set of 3 numbers gotten from a completely
Yeah,
different
exactly.
set
It's
of
like,
clues?
why would
Plus, the story
EVA?
just doesn't hold. Contrary to what Godzilla says in their post, there is no tally up your score at the end of those nightly surveys. Thus, the rationale just
What is the point of
doesn't
the
hold
tallies?
up. In short, it all feels like we're convinced
Maybe it's
that
the
we have a
order
solution
they had to
to
be
the
in? I don't
problem,
know.
and we're trying to back our way into how to get there. This is classic confirmation bias, where, as you conduct research, you try and find sources to justify your belief, or you retrofit the data to fit the
I didn't know
conclusion that
that's
you're
what
looking
that was.
for. And I should know about confirmation bias, because lots of our theories over the years
That's-
play with that
that's
very
funny.
concept. Mario is a villain, provided you
Also,
ignore
Logan
all the
Paul
times that he saves the
boxing.
kingdom. You play as the king in Hollow Knight.
God.
As long as you
Dude,
score
imagine if I did,
really
like,
hard
Creator
during
Clash.
this
That'd
one
be
cutscene that might
sick.
disprove that. For me, theories like those are all about telling a story, connecting dots that definitely exist within a game that fit
Stepping
your
on
understanding
not
of the
the Tims.
plot, but also sometimes go against what is much more likely and probably much more intended by the developer.
Cherry.
And the
What's Team
theories that I tend
Cherry?
to
Never
focus
even
on are
heard
the
of
ones
that.
where you can connect a surprising number of dots, even if one or
Star
two
Wars
tend to
characters?
disprove it. They're just meant to be fun thought experiments, you know? I like playing with the
Channel
lore
Analytics?
of these worlds. But here with FNAF, we have to be really careful. While I love both of these posts, FNAF theories tend to be about trying to solve things, speaking things into the generally accepted canon, and as a result, the methods by which we come to conclusions require
this is kinda
more
like him
scrutiny.
saying, "Hey,
Here, the
leave it to
methodology
me."
of arriving at the name Evan just doesn't hold up. as well
He's
as
like,
I'd like.
leave the
But
theorizing to
that
me.
doesn't mean
That's
the
basically
name
what he's
Evan
saying.
doesn't hold up.
Kind of.
Because here's the twist,
Not
friends.
really,
this
but
isn't just coming
wants
from
people to
the
find their own
logbook.
theories.
Shortly after Christmas, the Fazbear Frights book series released its latest installment, Blackbird.
SR-71?
And it contains what is to date the most moving story in this franchise.
Children's
The Real
Hospital.
Jake, short story number 2, tells the tale of 9-year-old Jake, who's
With
dying
cancer.
as a result of a tumor in his brain. With his mother prematurely passed away and his father overseas in the military, Jake is under constant care by the young Margie. But there's one other special person in Jake's life, a mysterious figure named Simon who speaks to him at night from
mentor?
a small cabinet in his room. Quote, the first night Simon had talked to Jake, Simon had made it clear he would be in the cabinet until Jake got well enough to walk to the cabinet. When you can do that, I'll be here waiting for you. End quote. And while it seems like
No.
Simon should be a sinister force, since, you know, this is a FNAF book after all, it's actually an expression
No.
of love. Margie had created this small doll named Simon with a walkie-talkie inside of him that allows Jake's father to speak to his son, distorting his voice to make him sound younger. Simon, every night, insists that Jake speak about what the real Jake is doing, the one who is isn't afflicted with cancer, the one who is outside playing with his friends. All of this was intended to give Jake hope, with Margie updating the doll every few nights with food stains and scrapes on his knees to reflect the adventures that the real Jake has been having.
The kid's gonna have
Beautifully
issues.
sad story with some legitimate surprises that I'm actually not gonna spoil here. But the reason I bring it up is that strangely,
Why
it
is
is
it called
the
Blackbird?
only one of the 18 Fazbear Fright stories so far that has no explicit connection to FNAF at all.
Well, what
Zero.
about
Every
FNAF
other
4?
story thus far has mentioned a Fazbear pizzeria or connected back to a familiar animatronic in some way. This one doesn't. Yes, it does have some lore connection to the ongoing Stitch Wraith storyline, but the lack of anything FNAF stands out like a sore thumb when every other story thus far has connected back in some way, which is why the name of Jake's father stands out so strongly. Jake's father is named Evan.
Oh my God!
Is interesting.
Whoa!
It becomes much more noteworthy when you consider that he has a brother named Michael, his only living family. And not only that, this is how Michael is described in the book.
Is there another brother?
Well, he's a little different. He's intense about making
He joined the
money,
military to
and
run
he's
away from
really
his home?
good at it. Just the way he is can make him seem like he's not human. So he's like a cyborg with bad programming, end quote. Two brothers,
Dragon Ball
one
be an
named
android.
Michael, who gets compared to a human-robot hybrid. Where have I heard that one before?
Yeah.
It's me, Michael.
And that's just the surface level stuff, friends. Looking deeper, this is a story about a father communicating with his son via walkie-talkie, just like we see in
what kind of
Sister
walkie-talkie
Location.
has
You
that
see
kind of
communicating
range?
through the walkie-talkie that is
I mean, they
in
do have,
a
like, sat
plushie.
phones.
In the real Jake, it's Simon the doll with a walkie-talkie inside of him. In the games, it's psychic friend Fredbear with a walkie-talkie. Both children
I
suffer
needed a
from a
jingle.
severe head wound, Jake with his brain tumor, and crying child with the bite of 83. In the story, Jake goes on to possess the Simon doll, only for him to then pass on to the Stitch Wraith, sharing that endoskeleton with another soul named Andrew. In the games, could it be that our crying child dies in the hospital and goes on to possess psychic friend Fredbear, which then somehow gets him passed into the Golden Freddy suit, where he then shares it with another soul named Cassidy. And all
how would
this
that
is
happen?
happening in a story that has no connection to FNAF, but very clearly has a connection to FNAF. I'm just saying that the absence makes it all the more conspicuous. In short, I'm not convinced that the FNAF survival logbook is solved or anything like that. Right now, I'm just not sure the methodology for arriving at a final name is really as solid as I'd like it to be to enter my personal headcanon. But strangely enough, the name Evan feels like we're onto something. It has some
considering
very
it's in the
compelling
book,
evidence to support
Blackbird.
it from the real Jake story. So at this point, I want to hear from you. Let me know. Are you
God.
sold on the crying child being Evan
girlfriend is-
alongside his older brother Mike? Or is this yet another example of Scott trying to bury the lead a bit and confuse us by
I'm
using
recording
the
a video
same
right
name
now.
a bunch of times, shoving Michael in a bunch of places where he doesn't belong?
It's
All
almost
I know
done.
is that I can't wait for the next book coming out in March. At this point, forget Security Breach. It's all about those sick book drops, my friends. Because let's be honest with ourselves. At this point, covering
the games,
lore of
whatever.
FNAF
It's all
requires
about the
more
book.
reading than your typical JRPG. But hey, that's just a theory. A
Game theory, of course.
Thanks
it's
for
always a
watching.
theory.
And hey, if
I
you
don't
missed
know
our
if this
first
was
Quest
right
to
or
Solve the
wrong.
Security logbook. That video is on screen right now.
I don't know,
it
actually in
properly
5
conveys
seconds.
my frustration with the series. And if you're
Fair.
interested in joining us on our ongoing quest to solve all the mysteries of FNAF, make
Did
sure
Reddit
you
actually
button
solve
that
it?
subscribe button.
I'm gonna read your
frontal
comments.
lobe
I'll also
will
be live
thank
stream
you
day at
because
5, by the way.
Let me tell you, the last time I told you I was stumped about a puzzle in the security logbook, less than a week later, Cassidy was solved. I wouldn't be surprised if something similar happened
This is kind of like the
time.
call to
In the
action that he's
meantime, my
doing.
friends,
He's
I'll
trying to get
see you
people
all
involved in it.
next week.
Alright, let's not jump into the next video. Okay, so maybe the name of the crying child is revealed. Maybe it is Evan. I think that's crazy. Like the whole overseas father in the military's name's Evan and has a brother named Michael. It just fits right into the series. But the thing with those Freddy Fright books is that they've been a parallel, not a direct like same thing. Like they're not the same story as the games. So it wouldn't really line up with the books being parallel stories to the games. I'm not really sure about that. Please let me know down below in the comment section. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, I'll be live streaming today at 5 p.m. starting Portal 2 on Saturday as well at 5 p.m. I hope you do subscribe to some of those future videos. You can become a patron and get the videos a day early. I'm completely against paywalls. I'm here to make you smile, not make you pay. But like I said, I still read all your comments no matter what. Jackie, do you want to say hi to the camera before I end the video?
Sure.
Hi. Say hi. Okay. Really hope you enjoyed the video. I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, take care and cue the music.
foreplay.